Today we're going to make pasta with meat in a jar. The total ingredients are in the jar, and all we're going to do is add 5½ cups of water. This is probably my favorite dish of all. Our ingredients are going to be tomato powder, freeze-dried or dehydrated onions, sausage crumbles, freeze-dried, and I have to put in a word here. This sausage is probably the best there is on the market. I don't have any interest in Honeyville. I just know what I like. And this makes a difference in this dish. Here is ground beef, freeze-dried ground beef. Now, if you have those hamburger rocks, maybe that would work. I would say try it, but only use, try one jar at a time. You can use any kind of pasta you want to. My family's favorite are bow ties. My favorite is rotini. And then, of course, you have your little mustacholi, they call that penne. And you can also use spaghetti. Now, I'm going to use different mushrooms today, because I like to experiment. I had dehydrated some portobello mushrooms, and I'm going to try that in my jars today. I also have some leftover freeze-dried mushrooms. The recipe calls for freeze-dried, but I have learned over time that you can interchange a lot of vegetables, mainly peas. Those are the ones that are not so interchangeable. You're going to need some Italian seasoning. It just doesn't matter. If it's good Italian seasoning, use it. Then you have, I'm using granulated garlic just because I like that. And let's see, we'll go over here. You're going to need your lids. And I'd recommend you get 12 jars ready. You're going to need some measuring cups and spoons. Okay, what I want to do is put the powders in first. So I need 2/3 of a cup of tomato powder. So I take my 1/3 measuring spoon, and the reason why I do that is because I don't have a 2/3 cup measurer. So 2 of these will equal 2/3 of a cup. Then I need 1/3 of a cup of onion. So I'm going to take my onion, put that in. Now I need a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. I do a heaping tablespoon, and you know me, I'll put a little more in. We're Italian, we like that. Okay, garlic granules, I'm going to put in, the recipe calls for 1/4 of a tablespoon, or 1/4 of a teaspoon. We're garlic people. I'm going to put in 1/2 tablespoon. Okay, 1/2 tablespoon is about 1½ teaspoons of garlic powder. I'll shake that up in there. Can we see how that's looking? Looks pretty nice. Okay, now comes, I want 1/3 of a cup of my sausage. Just 1/3 of a cup. Again, I do the heaping cup. 1/3 of a cup of sausage. Now, the recipe calls for 2/3 of a cup of hamburger. I don't do that. I just go ahead and put in a full cup. I like it. I like a little bit of meat in our spaghetti. This, look how nice these granules are. This is the ground beef, freeze-dried. So I go ahead and put a full cup in there. And now mushrooms. Today I'm going to use my mushrooms. The recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup. These are my own dehydrated portobello mushrooms. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my bow ties, and I'll fill up the jar. Now I know when Chef Tess does this, she puts the little bit of mozzarella cheese into the container. I don't do that. The reason why I don't do it is because I don't want to take up my container. I just don't want to take it up. With that, I'll put cheese on later. in SHTF situation, again, push down, and in an SHTF situation, I will make my own cheese out of dry milk, and I could show you how to do that in another video. And so I'm not going to take up the space, because one thing I do know about this makes a lot of sauce, and I like to get creative with my noodles. Oops. I like to get very creative. Now, if you're going to use an oxygen absorber, put it in there. Then put your lid on, close it, and you're fine. You're set. Okay, I'm going to make another one. And we'll just change it up a little bit. But first I'm going to get my powder. So I need 2/3 cup of powder. My powdered tomato, that is. Oh, I love this stuff. I absolutely love this stuff. Then I need 1/3 of a cup onion. Little more, a little less. It's up to you how you like your food. Then I want to have a tablespoon of garlic. No, a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. I'm going to use 1/2 tablespoon of garlic granules. You might want even more. I mean, sometimes I do throw more in. You know, you don't, day to day, you never know. You know, you have different tastes. So we get that nice, put that in the jar nice. And now we can add our meats. Now, last time I put in a cup of hamburger, and then I put in 1/3 of a cup of dried sausage. Well, you know what I'm going to do this time? I'm going to put in a cup of sausage. Whoops, wrong one. I'm going to put in a cup of sausage, and I'm going to put in 1/3, maybe 1/4 of a cup of ground beef. You can do this how you want to. Make it as meaty as you want to, or not. The sausage is wonderful. I can't say enough for it. Again, I'm going to use the portobello mushrooms that I made, because I really dehydrated a lot of them. And we like portobello mushrooms. That's why I did it. And just put it on down there. And all you do now is fill it up with noodles. Some kind of pasta. But now I'm going to use the rotini. And that will give this a whole different look. Again, if you were going to use the oxygen absorber, put it on. Put the lid on, a ring, you're done. Now I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to make a lot of sauce. This is, I always wind up putting in, another cup of pasta noodles. This is going to be enough for 4 people, and depending on how hungry they are, there may not be any leftovers. But most of the time, if 2 people cook it, it's way too much, and you will have leftovers. Okay, and this is for my friends that are vegetarians. Not everybody is a big meat eater like I am or my family is. So I'll show you what to do. You take 2/3 of a cup of the sauce, okay? You put in 1/3 of a cup of onion. Then you go ahead and you put in a lot of mushrooms. If you like mushrooms, put in mushrooms, okay? And then honestly, just fill up your jar. There you go. This is very good, with meat or without meat. I have a few crazy jars, I always say, because as you know, there's always a few left over, your noodles, so we just have mixed noodles sometimes, or pasta. We call spaghetti sauce gravy, and I'm so used to saying gravy that when somebody talks about gravy, I get confused. You know, the white gravy with sausage in it. Oh, I love it, but I get a little bit confused because gravy to me means what most people know as spaghetti sauce. So this is a vegetarian version. There is no meat in this. Nobody says you have to put meat in it. So I'm going to make up a few jars that way. Now just to give you an idea, this jar right here is almost full, almost a pound of spaghetti. And yes, that's going to be more than enough. If you're worried about it, I wouldn't be, but if you're worried about it, take a little more powder, throw it on top. A little more spaghetti powder, throw a little more onion. Alright, but this is a vegetarian. This is no meat pasta sauce. Now this one is strictly going to be meat sauce. And the reason why I like to make this is because I might want to make just lasagna someday. And this is going to make a beautiful meat sauce. And I can go ahead and put my lasagna together. And yes, I will make another video on that. So, well, how about that? I threw some powder in my sausage. Oh, well, you know, like I told you, I'm not perfect. I just keep trying. It'll taste just fine. So this is going to be a very, very meaty sauce. I'm just going to, what I'm doing is just saying to myself, okay, this is what I want in there. So I just keep going equally between the meats. Not much. This is going to be just meat sauce. Do you see what you can do with this dry canning? This is fabulous. You can do so many different things. Alright, what we're going to do is make one today. Oops, got to take the little oxygen absorber out. Just pour it all in there. And then we're going to get water. Alright, and I'm going to use about, I guess it's about 6 cups of water. And I had a little bit of noodles left over, so I'm going to throw those in too. Stir this up real good. That's all you have to do. You'd be surprised how good this is going to taste. Put a lid on it. Put it in the oven. I would put it in a solar oven, except it's a little too late in the day. At the end of about a half an hour, your pasta dish will be done. Put it on a dish, sprinkle a little Parmesan on, and voila! You have a wonderful, wonderful meal.